Brad Underwood met the media on Wednesday night, and I'll be honest, some of the things he mentioned surprised me, and I think might surprise you. Locked on Illini. Let's go.
You are Locked on Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, one, welcome all to another edition of Locked on Illini. Thank you all so much for making this podcast your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name is Verma, your host here at Locked on Illini, where I provide you daily coverage. That's right, every single day, including the weekend. So, if you're a supporter of the University of Illinois Athletics, make sure you've hit the like button on this episode. I promise it's a good one. And make sure you're subscribed as you help me reach my goal of hitting 3,000 subs on YouTube. My goal is to do it before the 1-year anniversary of the show, which I believe is May 16th. So see if you can help me out. It's going to be a fun episode today because it's going to be a little surprising episode. And I feel like you might be surprised at some of the things I'm going to be saying because I've had a certain vision, I feel like, for what Brad Underwood wanted to build this roster with, but it turns out I might have been wrong this whole entire time. Brad Underwood on Wednesday hosted his annual Kickin' Cancer fundraiser at Gordyville, USA, and as a part of this whole fundraiser, he took some time out, as did some of the other coaches at the event, to just answer questions from the media. And some of the answers he gave kind of surprised me. What I'm going to do right now is kind of summarize what he said during his talking, and then we'll kind of go over it afterwards. He started off talking about culture through continuity. Brad opened up by emphasizing how critical it was to bring back a core group of guys this season, especially after having to complete the rebuild the roster last year. Brad opened up by emphasizing how critical it was to bring back a core group of guys this season, especially after having to completely rebuild the roster last year. He believes that they did a great job identifying high-character players who understood and reinforced the team culture. Names like Ty Rodgers, Kylan, Tommy, Jake were all mentioned as returning players who not only contributed last season, but will help push the program forward. Underwood made it clear having older players who have bought in is what gives this team stability and leadership heading into next season. Underwood then gave a real assessment of how the transfer portal has changed and how this year is different than even the last. He said the conversation used to center around playing time and opportunity, and that's still a factor, but now NIL, money, and revenue share most of the focus, at least at the forefront. There are firm deadlines with collectives, which have made the financial aspect more aggressive and urgent, and he acknowledged that some programs are desperate to fill 5 or 6 roster spots, and that drives the prices up, even for teams like Illinois, who might just need 1 or 2 pieces. It's clear shift forward towards a business model, and Brad wasn't trying to sugarcoat that in any sort of way. Underwood then shared genuine excitement about the potential of playing 2 7-footers together in the front court. While he didn't say the names directly, we know he was talking about Tomislav Ivisic and his brother Zvonimir. He pointed out how rare it is to have 2 players who are 7'1" and 7'2" who not only protect the rim, but can also shoot the ball and think the game at a high level. He called it a unique situation with the chance to create an elite front court. That kind of length and skill could give Illinois a distinct advantage, especially defensively and on the glass. Brad then shifted the conversation over to Ty Rodgers, saying Ty Rodgers is choosing to return to Illinois was a major win for the program, and Underwood didn't hold back in showing his appreciation. He mentioned that Ty has been through a physical transformation, continues to grow as a player, and has been one of the most impactful guys in the system. Brad believes Ty could be one of the most versatile players in the entire Big Ten next year, with this being his 4th year in Champaign. Ty represents a homegrown product of the program, someone who stuck through the ups and downs and now brings maturity, leadership, and versatility to the court. Brad then shifted to speaking at length about how much Illini Nation means to the program, and not just in the stands. He credited the fan base and donor support for keeping Illinois competitive in the NIL era, calling them more powerful than ever. He acknowledged that without the backing, Illinois wouldn't be able to compete nationally, especially when it comes to retaining players and landing some of the top talent in the portal. Underwood also pointed out to the packed events and sellout crowds as proof of how passionate the fan base is. He said that energy matters not just to him, but to the players and recruits watching closely. In terms of roster needs, Brad said that they're still actively looking to add a few more players, specifically mentioning a combo guard and a bigger forward who can stretch the floor and shoot. He emphasized that the staff is being very selective and is focused on finding the right fit. Someone who can blend in the team culture and bring value on both ends of the floor. Brad didn't rule out bringing in a freshman, but it's all about finding the right personality and skill set, not just experience level. The portal is still wide open, and Illinois right now is still in evaluation mode. Brad did talk about Ben Humrickhouse a little bit, saying he gave a very positive update, saying he's currently working out at the Illinois facilities with Fletch. While nothing is officially confirmed, Brad sounded hopeful Ben would be back in the orange and blue next season. He believes Ben has the potential for a breakout year, especially with the ability to stretch the floor and shoot at his size. Underwood also praised Ben's character, calling him one of the nicest people he's ever been around, and said his continued development could be a big asset for the team. Moving on to the coaching staff adjustment, he didn't really go into much detail. Brad did acknowledge that the staff is still working through some things in terms of role and structure. He mentioned that when Tim left, Quay was elevated, and there have been taking things one step at a time as the portal season unfolds. While no major changes have been announced, it sounds like the door is open for other adjustments as the roster comes together. But unfortunately, it doesn't sound like he's exactly in a very big hurry. And that is something I'm going to discuss, I think, on a later segment on a later date, because I find that very extremely frustrating. Brad then talked about KJ and Will entering the NBA draft. Brad was glowing when talking about Kasparis and Will, both of whom are going through the NBA draft process. He said he's been in regular contact with teams and helping provide evaluations. He believes Kasparis is seen as a potential top 10 pick, and Will is rapidly rising up the draft boards. Underwood called them lottery-type guys, credited the entire Illinois program from strength coach Adam Fletcher to the facilities and fans for preparing them for this moment. It's a big milestone for the program and proves that Illinois can produce elite-level NBA talent. And finally, Underwood wrapped it up by describing what his day-to-day looks like during the portal season, and he was honest about the grind. He said his daily to-do list rarely gets touched because there's new phone calls, new conversations, and surprises constantly popping up. Whether it's players, agents, or logistics, everything takes longer than you expect it to. He called it nonstop and unpredictable, but also the reality of coaching in 2024. The portal isn't just a recruiting tool anymore. It's a full-time job with high stakes, tight deadlines, and constant change. That's a lot to unpack. But I don't know if I got it across as well as I wanted to, but the main thing I kind of got from this interview that Brad Underwood did is the roster construction aspect. For a couple weeks now, maybe even a month, I've been talking about how important it might be to land a guy like Dame Sarr, who I've talked about Illinois being in the forefront with. But my everydayers in here, and let me know if you are one in the comment section, know that I feel like one of the biggest flaws to last year's team was the fact that the two best players were freshmen, and that you had to deal with a lot of the ups and downs of having freshmen playing at times like freshmen, even in big moments. Both kids, unfortunately, just did not show up against the game against Kentucky, and there's a reason that Illinois really didn't even go on beyond that game. So, which brings us today. Dame Sarr is going to command a very hefty price tag, and now there's rumors that other Big Ten teams are coming in with $2 or $3 million offers for Dame to come play for them. And Brad basically has a conundrum. Is he willing to bet on a kid like Dame Sarr or any freshman? Okay, where it's either Dame or freshman A, freshman B. To spend that substantial amount of money on them, $2 or $3 million, you're talking about almost a quarter, if not more, of the salary cap that you have. Do you want to invest that much money on a freshman? Are you confident enough that that freshman can lead you to that second weekend? Because that's basically the expectation moving forward for Illinois fans. Or Do you take that money and do you try to find a veteran with it? If you, hypothetically, you only have one, I'm using air quotes, bag left, would you trust going with a freshman, or would you rather see if you can find maybe a more refined player, a kid who is 19, 20, 21 years old, or who knows at this point, even older than that? You've got a nice foundation with this team as is. And I just think what really stuck out to me, and it wasn't just me, I think a lot of the content creators out there, the Twitter sphere, they all kind of got the same vibes that I got, that maybe Brad is going to be more focused on bringing in a veteran with that last big money offer that Illinois probably has. I don't think Adam Miller is it. I think they still are going to try to bring Adam Miller in, but as a complementary piece. I'm just starting to wonder now if Brad is using that last bag that he might have at his disposal and use it for a more veteran piece as opposed to the Dame Sar that Illinois has been linked to for a very long time. Let me know your thoughts. What would you do if you had this roster, this team, and you just had, let's just say hypothetically, one $2.5 million slot open? Would you give it? Would you trust it to a high ceiling freshman like Dame Sar? Or would you try to seek out a more veteran piece, a guy who I'm going to discuss maybe even in the next segment? Hope that the more refined player can lead you not only to the second weekend, but maybe further. I'm very curious on your thoughts. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, multiple qualified candidates will present themselves to choose from. Cost-effective growth instead of hiring full-time. Upwork helps find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale any business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with the top talent and grow your business today. Are you looking for a couple football tickets to a game this upcoming season? There's two ways to get it. Either A, you can find me on your favorite audio platform. Make sure you leave a 5-star review and let me know where your email address is. Just screenshot and send it to my email or on social media, and I'll enter you in a drawing for 2 tickets to any game. Or go ahead and join the Discord. The link should be in the description. All summer long and all season long, I'm going to be running random raffles, and in which you might be able to land 2 tickets. So if you want to go to a football game to no charge of yourself, all I ask is for your support of this channel. And who knows, you can maybe find your way to Memorial Stadium. Next up, we're going to be talking about another transfer portal target, a guy who I talked about before, but not very in depth. And now I kind of feel bad about it. Brad Underwood and the Illini are swinging a big bat again in the portal. And the latest name in the mix, Florida State's Jamir Watkins. Now, Jamir, I actually did talk about in my potential targets episode. I believe it was last week, but I really didn't give Illinois much of a chance on it because it seemed, I basically said that he was one of my, if not favorite player in the portal, but it looked like that he already had some connections to Michigan or the NBA, and that it wasn't a very high likelihood that he would come to Champaign. And so, quite honestly, even since that time, I had heard 0 connections with Illinois, and so I kind of forgot his name. But Jeff Goodman of Field of 68 reports it's down to 3 schools for Jamir Watkins: Louisville, Kentucky, and that's right, Illinois. Let's talk about a little bit about who Watkins is, what kind of game he brings, and why he could be a massive piece for the Illini if we can land him. Again, I wish I'd done this before, but I'll give you a little scouting report now, just in case. First off, Jamir Watkins is 6'7", about 210-pound wing who put up real numbers at Florida State last season. He averaged 18.4 points, 5.7 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. And he played just under 31 minutes a night, shooting 43% from the field and 32% from 3. Now, I know, 32% from deep doesn't blow you away, but this is a guy who can absolutely fill it up. He can guard multiple positions and create his own shot. He's not a system scorer. This is a high level, high usage wing with experience, size, and versatility. Watkins started his career at VCU, and honestly, he's had to fight through a couple things. He played as a freshman, then missed all of his sophomore season due to knee injury. That could have derailed a lot of careers, but he bounced back. And by the 2022 season, he was putting up nearly 10 points and 5 rebounds on a 41% shooting clip. He then transferred to Florida State and took off. That jump to 18 points a night is not a small leap. And he did it in the ACC, not some mid-major league. So you're not just getting a scorer, you're getting a guy who built some real toughness through the toughest of tough setbacks and leveled up his game along the way. So what would Watkins bring to Illinois? If Illinois is able to land Jamir, you're talking about a plug-and-play wing who immediately becomes the focal point of your offense. His ability to create off the bounce, post up smaller defenders, and rebound at his position would fill multiple needs. You can see how you can complement a guy like Tomislav in the front court or stretch the floor alongside a guy like Ty Rodgers. He gives you lineup flexibility. Play him at the 3, maybe even some 4 in smaller lineups. And for a team still looking for a scoring wing with some size, which I just mentioned Brad Underwood's looking for in that first segment, this might be the guy. Now, of course, Illinois isn't alone in this. Goodman said it's Illinois, Louisville, and Kentucky. And Duke may be involved, but that seems to be fizzling out. But let's be real. Beating out schools like Kentucky and Louisville is never easy, especially in the modern day NIL era. But what Brad Underwood and his staff have done the last couple of years is proof that they can land a top-tier portal talent. From Terrence Shannon Jr. to Marcus Domas to Quincy Guerrier, these weren't mid-tier guys. They were proven dudes who stepped in and helped Illinois win games. Watkins could be another one in that mold. And why does Illinois make sense for Watkins? Look, this isn't just about where he fits. It's about what he's looking for. Watkins has 1 year of eligibility left. And according to Goodman, he's looking at teams that can make a deep run in March. That's where Illinois can make a strong case. The program just went to the Elite Eight 2 years ago. They're returning several key pieces, and they've got momentum showing that they're willing to put the ball in the hands of their best players. If Watkins wants to be a featured piece on a team with real postseason upside, Illinois checks the box. As for what's next, at this point, we just wait. Jamir may be waiting on the NBA, but Watkins is the kind of player who changes your ceiling. And Illinois is clearly being aggressive in finding that 1 or 2 last pieces to round out a roster that already has the bones of a tournament team. If Brad Underwood and the Illini can land Jamir Watkins, watch out. Just seeing Illinois mentioned in the final 3 with Jamir just shows you the chaos that this transfer portal is. And I feel like I've used that term probably every day this week of shows, but it truly is just a very chaotic scene and environment going on with this transfer portal. This is a guy who I liked immediately. As soon as he entered the transfer portal, I heard nothing, zero connection with Illinois. And somehow on Wednesday, we find out that Jeff Goodman says that Illinois is in his top 3. What are the likelihoods of landing a guy like Jamir? I don't know. He's certainly going to cost a lot of money. And again, the more that we hear, the more it really does sound like Illinois probably has enough for 1 or 2 more complementary players and then just one bag for one big time scorer. Now, is the bag going to be big enough for a guy like Jamir? That I don't know. But again, Brad has to make the tough decision. Is he willing to invest in a younger player like Dame Sarr, or does he go for a more established star, a guy what he can do at the college level, like Jamir Watkins? Again, I'm very curious on your guys' thoughts on this because I know I'm going to be thinking about it over the next couple of days. Let me know what you think of Jamir Watkins. Are we wasting our time? Is he Kentucky bound? Is he Duke bound or Michigan bound, as I mentioned in the original video where I discussed him? If you've watched Jamir Watkins play, you tell me if you think he would be a good fit on this Illini basketball team. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get a chance to win $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head on over to FanDuel.com and claim $250 in bonus bets today. And that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us, again, your first listen each and every day. If you'd like to support the channel, all the content here is absolutely free. All I ask for in return is if you can hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And you know what? Go ahead and share it with other Illini fans in your life. I'm going to be doing my first ever Locked On Illini meetup on, I believe it's June 24th, whatever the first day of the NBA lottery is. Hopefully we'll be able to watch Kasper Jakushonis get drafted, and we'll be able to see where he's going to play his first year in the NBA. If that's something you're interested in, we're going to be meeting somewhere in the Chicago suburbs. Again, either join the Discord where the details will be there. The link should be in the description of this video, or send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com, and I can put you on an email list so you can be kept up to date. Either way, again, there's so much talent. I'm talking about, I literally recorded a transfer portal needs video for the football side, but I just figured this would be a little bit more of a priority. I know you guys love your basketball content, and you guys have an itch for basketball right now, but I'll be talking about transfer portal needs. Let me know in the comments what you would consider your top 5 transfer portal needs. I've already done the episode, but we can compare notes. You'll probably be seeing that maybe sometime on Thursday or Friday. But regardless, so much content. Just make sure you're subscribed to this channel and you won't miss a thing. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys. Speaking of the draft, thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Draft with Damian Parson and Keith Sanchez. As your favorite collegiate players get ready to go to the next level, get the latest draft rankings, rumors, and news every day. Find Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. ILL. Love you guys.